feel like Gordon Bombay would have taken his career to even further heights.
Everything's flashy, everything's cocaine, everything's
Fun.
Open wide for some soccer!
I don't care what your personal thoughts are at home. I care that you hate the
Call
Cowboys.
this college rule!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sports Experience Podcast. Dom and Chris here, and before we begin, as always, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe, and watch all of our content, and hit that like button on every video that you end up watching, every clip you end up watching. That really helps us with the algorithm and will help grow this podcast. We're looking to get a couple hundred subscribers by the end of the fall, so come on, jump on in. Join the Sports Experience train, everybody.
There you go.
All right, and Chris, we are back on the hardwood today. We're back with somebody we know about here.
That's
in
right.
Tucson.
Gilbert Arenas. We got Agent Zero, the
Agent Zero.
controversial commentator.
Controversial, kind of everything.
Yes,
Not just commentator,
he's-
but...
Definitely rubs people the wrong way, but really an unbelievable scorer.
Oh, yeah. Awesome combo guard. We'll get into
Yes.
that right now.
Yes.
Gilbert J. Arenas Jr., born January 6th, 1982 in Tampa, Florida. His dad, Gilbert Sr., met his great-grandfather's from Cuba.
Oh, okay.
Interesting on his
I like
dad's
that.
side. He was in a relationship in Miami while he was in college with another college student who was a teenager. They weren't married at all. And when he was 6 months old, his mom took him.
Yeah.
He just left. His mom took him and left. And then 2 years later, his dad ends up getting contacted by his baby mama's mother, telling him, she's in trouble. You need to go and pick up your son. That's all I found out. So I
Wow.
don't know what she got into, but she said, you need to come and pick up your son.
Okay.
So goes and picks up little Gilbert and basically ends up living in Florida until he's about 7.
Yes. And then moves to California.
It's crazy, though. So he's 7 years old. His dad and his dad's then girlfriend get in the car. His dad wants to go to L.A. and be an actor. That is what he wants to go and do. So they get in the car, and by Texas, the lady had bailed. So it's just
wow.
Gil Sr. and Gil Jr.
Hey, man, those road trips, they are relationship killers, if
Yes,
you will.
They are. Gilbert Sr. said in Arizona, he almost turned around, but quoted as saying, "My manhood kicked in and said, keep going." He had $25 in his pocket when he got to Burbank.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaking crazy. He says that they were car people, not crab people.
That's right.
Car people.
Crab people. But yeah, I did read that when they got there, they were pretty much like living out of the car.
Yeah. They were sleeping in their Mazda. The cops, they were sleeping on the park for the first night. Cops kicked them out. Then they were sleeping behind a drugstore in an alley. And literally trying to just go from place to place to kind of survive and settle there.
Yep.
They end up going to what I read was an adults-only YMCA, and I don't know. That just sounds like one big glory hole. They wouldn't allow little Gil in there, which is a little, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've been to those. They are fun. But you got to check your kids at the door.
It's not a place for children.
It's not a place for children. It's a place for bears.
Was the entry word orgy?
The password for this orgy is orgy?
It's interfering with my beak.
Got a nosh.
Oh, God.
I don't want to have sex with any of these people. They're all fat and old.
They're paunchy and weird.
We're just going to make It's Always Sunny references. I don't know if anybody could tell.
I don't know if you've been listening to any of these 260 episodes, but it comes up a lot.
We've almost done a full episode of It's Always Sunny. That's all I'm saying.
feel
With
like
the
we
references.
One day, though, they let him sleep on a mattress in the auditorium, though.
Yeah.
A gentleman asked Gilbert, who was just dribbling a basketball, if he had played, and Gilbert told him a little. And this guy ended up talking to his dad and helping Gil Sr. get a job as a clerk at his company. So they end up settling down eventually. Like, he gets a loan to get an apartment, and it's just the two dudes.
Well, and I'll say this because literally his basketball life started there where like he got everything from basketball.
Yeah.
Even his dad got a job from some guy asking him if he played basketball.
That's so crazy, like, just to think.
Yeah.
So they're settled in the San Fernando Valley.
Yep.
And kind of wish he did karate, but then you're like, well, he would have kicked the crap out of both Johnny and Daniel.
Well,
right?
if he did karate and he crane kicked.
I mean, oh, God. It's like Karate Kid meets Boogie Nights and Coach Carter all at the same time. That's what it is.
Oh, what a great movie. Look for our new movie coming out.
Did I ever tell you about my reverse Cool Runnings movie?
No, but I'm ready.
It is.
Give it to me.
It's basically Coach Carter, where Samuel L. Jackson, instead of coaching high schoolers, goes to Norway and coaches basketball there, and for 3 hours just yells at white people, "Say ya again, Sven! I fucking dare you!
I don't care about your fundamentals."
Motherfucking no one wants to build a snowman!"
But they go on and win a championship. That's the
Yes.
end of that movie.
So he goes to Ulysses S. Grant High School in L.A. there. Not really a household name, not really a household kind of school for basketball. Did find some interesting alumni who went there.
Give it to me, because I haven't even heard this yet.
Most of the members of the band Toto, the lead singer of Quiet Riot, ex-closer Rod Beck. I don't know if you remember who he was.
No.
He looked like this 50-year-old plumber in his mid-20s. And he was like a 3-time All-Star for the Giants.
Oh, nice.
He had the long flowing mullet and that Fu Manchu.
The Fu Manchu. I knew where it was going.
Guy fucks.
Yep.
And Tom Selleck. Thomas Magnum, Gilbert Arenas connection.
There's been a lot of great mustaches that has come out of that high school. So
I believe they changed their nickname to the Mustache Riders. Anyway.
Back to Gilbert.
Gilbert, not really a heavily recruited guy.
Really
Class
low.
of 99.
He even said that like other colleges would come, and we've said this before, looking at other kids and being like, "Oh, this guy's a really good point guard."
And he's like a year younger than everybody else too.
Yep.
Which is kind of crazy. But he goes to apparently a Michael Jordan camp, and people start to notice him.
Well, he played against Jordan, and Jordan literally said he was just like, "I was impressed by his skill, even though he is a year younger." Because everybody else at this time is 18.
Some of them are like 19.
Yeah.
But like you're a 6'3", 200-pound combo guard. Like I'm surprised it took even that long for people to be like,
I agree.
this, like USC and UCLA weren't in on this kid. Like, come on. Now.
And he really only got 3, not even top teams, 2 top teams to come, colleges to like actually be like, "We want you to come to our program."
Yeah, which is nuts.
Because it was literally DePaul, Kansas, U of A.
U of A. That's it. But he makes the right decision, Chris.
That's
he makes
right.
the right decision. He wants to play point guard at Point Guard U.
How could you deny it?
I did read that when he got here, he tried to wear the number 25.
But who had that?
Steve Kerr had number 25.
And then this is where
I love this.
he gets his famous number, which he got 0, because so many of the media were like, "That's how many minutes you're going to play as a 17-year-old on Point Guard U."
Yeah, exactly. And I did read, though, that was his freshman year was the first year U of A opened up not only 0 as a number, but number 1 as a number.
Oh.
He also wanted to wear number 1 because he was a huge Penny Hardaway fan.
Yeah, that'll come back.
So, yes, it will indeed. Goes to Arizona, and they're in a little bit of rebuilding mode.
Which it works out so perfect for him.
Jason Terry is gone. And he plays well enough that he unseats Reuben Douglas, the previous year starter at the 2 guard, because they got Jason Gardner, the point guard, to come in and play.
And then you had Richard Jefferson, Luke Walton. So it was like this really good team that was coming together for 2 years. And Arenas really was a focal point, which so many people said that he wasn't going to be.
What was there? I mean, I obviously didn't see him play when he's like 16, 17 years old, but like, what was the logic? Because I distinctly remember him as a kid coming here and just not necessarily being the star because they had so many great players, but him just being really good out the gate.
Yep.
You're right. Can't figure that out.
There's no way he could have improved that much from high school to college at 17, because literally he comes in, plays 34 games, and starts 31.
Yeah.
So, like, the 0-minute thing is ridiculous.
You think after he finished his first minute, he's probably like, maybe I can go back to 1.
Yep.
Maybe I can be 1 again.
Timeout and changes
to change into. Oh, if you could do that as a player, be like, I'm feeling a little 69 rep, if you know what I mean.
That's right.
So the first year, they win the Pac-10.
Yep.
Finished 4th in the AP poll there in 99-2000. Pac-10 all freshman, 15.4 points, 4.1 assists or rebounds, and then 2.1 assists. And this is one of those Lute Olson years where you go like, come on, man. Like, they're a number 1 seed.
Yep, they make the dance as a number 1 seed, and they win the first round.
They win the first round against Jackson State.
But we've only seen that not happen once.
Yeah.
And then they get into the second round against Wisconsin, right?
And team they've historically continued to lose to in the tournament. It's like,
I don't know what it is, but Wisconsin just knows how to set up against a Lute Olson team.
it's just like Canadians in their pudding, as is tradition.
As is tradition.
They lose
And he throws her into the pudding, as is tradition. So beautiful.
So they lose in the second round, but everyone on that team is coming back the following year.
Because they're still young. Like, a lot of the guys are sophomores or juniors.
I don't know if they had any seniors on that.
Or at least starting seniors.
Seniors that even logged like significant minutes
Exactly.
on that team.
They had a couple of white guys at the end of the bench, seniors. You know what I'm talking about.
Super senior, the grade point average seniors.
Dude, it's me and Dom at the end of the bench. I'm just being honest with you guys, all right?
It's like I'll go in with about a .06 BAC by the end of the game. We're up by like 30 against Oregon State, and they're like, "Here you go, Dom." I'm like, "I got you."
And then they really cheer when we hit that 3.
It really. It's like when my nickname was Make a Wish. That's what it was on the
On the court.
the court. So 2000, 2001, they're preseason number 1, and man, they were a really good team.
They're a really good team.
They're really good,
And he's really good at this. He definitely shows him as this potential star coming out of U of A.
Oh yeah, no, like and this is when U of A was like a super high scoring team.
Yep.
Like they would get up and down the floor on you. Playing obviously starting at shooting guard, but playing point guard when Gardner's out.
Yes.
As well. 16.2 points a game led the team. 3.6 assists, 2.3 or 3.6 rebound for a 2 guard. That's pretty good for someone that at his size.
He always gets a good amount of rebounds for the position for his everything. You know,
tough guy, that Gilbert Arenas.
Yep.
They get a number 2 seed, and then they just start turning it on in the tournament. They beat Eastern Illinois, then Butler, then Ole Miss in the Sweet 16. They handle Illinois, the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they were number 1 overall.
Yeah, number
at the
1
end
overall
of the
seed. Yeah. And then in the Elite 8, and then the Final Four there in Minneapolis. I remember watching that Michigan State game. They kicked the shit out of them. And they had a lot. I think that team had like Jason Richardson and Zebo on it.
And this is what everyone was saying. Them going through the tourney, they didn't really have a lot of competition going up until the final game, which we get against Duke.
April 2nd, 2001.
I don't know if you saw this. He kind of injured his knee a little before this game.
Yes, I did see that.
And then he just does not have a good game.
Their backcourt was just like Krusty the Clown not knowing how to pronounce Shush's name.
Yep.
Shush, I need a drink.
Why did I put it all on the Generals?
I thought the Generals were due. I thought the Wildcats were due. And then you're like, no, the officials in U of A's backcourt shooting were never going to allow that to happen in this game.
That's very true.
God.
He goes,
and that Duke team was so hateable.
Oh, my God.
Battier and Dunleavy and Jay, I know how to drive a motorcycle, but I really don't, Williams. Their backcourt shot, what was it? They were over 11 with 3-pointers.
Yep. He shot 4 of 17. He had 10 points. Like, it just was not and this is why one-off basketball tourney is so good, was they just did not show up that game. But if they had, they could have beat Duke.
Yeah, no, they were talented. Duke almost lost in the semifinal against Maryland. They had some like ridiculous comeback.
Yep.
I remember that. Obviously, they end up losing. Gil has a bad game.
Yep.
First team All Pac-10. I mean, people were talking at the end of the season when he decided to enter the draft, like, this guy's a lottery pick. Kind of like Nick Van Exel.
I was just going to say, they were literally saying he was going to be like a top 10, and there really wasn't a lot of talk of him dropping below that until we get to tryouts.
Yeah, the workouts.
The combines, if you will.
Some of this is oversight with scouting. I do want to elaborate on that. But some of this is just Agent Zero being Agent Zero.
Well, it's interesting because it wasn't just the tryouts, but it was also the interviews where a lot of the GMs really did not like his attitude.
No. Lute Olson had a quote about him. I don't know if you read it. He said he's 17 going on 12, which I don't know if it's like Jennifer Garner's 13 going on 30, but hopefully it's not like Karl Malone's 17 going on 12.
Hey, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone.
So he's trying out with Boston. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the famous one. He was supposed to have a 2-day tryout. He said he went 100% day one, but he still had this like knee injury that, or
he said at this point his Achilles was nagging him.
Yes. And he literally told them, he was just like, that's what I could do. I'm going to take this second day off. And they were pissed.
And that's when they started labeling him and letting other teams in the league know maybe this guy doesn't have the heart to play in the league, which some of these gentlemen, men of their time, Chris,
thank you,
had that type of attitude about maybe people were actually hurt and maybe you have certain other biases. I don't know. Celtics.
Well, what Gilbert literally said was the GM at the Celtics spread a rumor that he wasn't mentally there to play in the NBA.
Yeah.
And just to put this out there, he has been known to take it easy in practice. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
He's going to injure his Achilles again, and then we're going to talk about malpractice.
I will say, though, as I brought up before, though, he didn't help himself.
No, not at all.
He didn't help himself. Like, they were at the pre-draft symposium. People have verified the story. They asked him what he wanted to be. You know, like where he saw his future. And Gilbert let them know jokingly, but this is not like you're interviewing at In-N-Out Burger. This is for millions of dollars. This is for generational wealth, not so you can afford a fucking Blu-ray player circa 2009. But anyway, basically he went full bottom bitch and said, I want to be a pimp. And a lot of people were turned off by that. And then there was also where he worked out in Converse Chuck's Taylors and didn't want to finish his workout because they'd be scuffed somehow. Which,
well,
people already aren't liking you for unfair reasons. Don't give them fair reasons to dislike you. Come on, man.
I saw somebody ask him, they're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he was like, having sex with your son?
Family.
Don't say doing your wife.
Don't say doing your wife.
Doing your
son? But yeah, he just didn't do himself any favors, and then you see him drop so much lower than he ever should have, even with a bad attitude.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
So Boston has 3 first-round picks in this draft. They thought he was a quitter. They didn't want to take him.
They didn't want him.
Portland somehow, and this is why I said this isn't his fault, they somehow came to a conclusion that he couldn't shoot, which I don't know what your scouting process is, but that's not fair.
Well, and then the Warriors wanted to draft him round 1, but literally they were like, we have the first pick in round 2. We can just wait because nobody wants this guy.
Yeah. So the other team in the first round that thought would take him would be Sacramento.
Oh, Sacramento.
Could you imagine him? This is right before Donaghy fucks them.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That would have been such a good team.
No, I mean, Portland would have been the best team at this time for him.
Yeah.
lot of fun personalities. I think Sabonzone's still there, so that's only going to be great.
Stoudemire.
Oh, God. Have the Wildcat connection there?
They would have been smoking elbows.
But we get into the second round, and like you said, Golden State's there. And it's just like, well, that was convenient.
Yes, very lucky for them, but then it does come back and bite them in the ass.
And they're kind of crappy at this time.
They are literally one of the worst teams.
If you thought Baron Davis and Steven Jackson was forever ago, this is in the long, long ago. Land before time.
The long, long ago. How long was that, kids? 15 days.
Oh, God. So 2001, 2002, he doesn't play a hell of a lot.
No, not a lot of minutes, but rookie kind of.
Yeah,
but
he's being worked. I think Richardson was the guy they took in the first round there.
Yeah.
So they had Richardson and I think Larry Hughes on that team.
He's also 19.
Yeah, which is
so like
ridiculous.
If you think about as a franchise where you're like, oh, we want this guy to become something, we're not going to push him too hard. Yeah. I thought it was accurate.
It's accurate, but it comes back and kind of
bites him in the ass.
So the following season, He's the NBA's most improved player because Eric Musselman, the new coach, is starting to give him minutes.
He averages 18 a game, 6 assists, and this is what I love about his game. He averages 4.7 rebounds. So, he's literally a guard that's going to get you 4 rebounds a game.
And I think some people were just confused. Where do we play him? It's like, just play him.
Yes.
Just
play him as the 1 or the 2. It does not matter.
Like, seriously.
Just make sure he's on the court.
Make sure he's not wearing his Chuck Taylors for the game.
Chris Mullen.
We did an episode on him.
Presents him with the most improved player trophy. And then literally he has this thing where he's just like, I didn't think I got a lot better than last year. They just started giving me minutes. And then you literally think, you're just like, oh yeah, that's Gilbert being Gilbert.
Oh no. But that off season, however, wow, do things get weird, and he does change basketball in a way.
Yes. So he's a restricted free agent. 3 teams really want to sign him.
Yes.
Wizards, Warriors, Clippers.
Which is just, at this time...
Supposedly, Wizards and Clippers are the front runners because they can offer him more money.
Yeah.
And this is just a rumor that I couldn't get confirmed, is that he flipped a coin to either stay in LA or go to Washington.
Did you hear the other rumor about it? So he flipped it 10 times. 8 of the 10 went in Los Angeles' favor, and then he's like, oh, I got a migraine, maybe I should go to the Wizards.
Well, it literally is one of those things where it's like we're gonna cut this bike in half, and then he's like, oh, I actually want to go to the this made him realize that he wanted to go to the Wizards.
So it's the Gilbert Arenas rule that comes out of this, where you can actually protect second round picks.
Well, that was the thing, was the Warriors couldn't match the Wizards deal and stay under the salary cap, but if they had drafted him in the first round, they have they're allowed to go over the salary cap without being taxed.
Yeah.
So
which is asinine. It's such an asinine loophole that they took advantage of.
So stupid. But now the Gilbert Arenas rule is literally first 2 rounds you're allowed to re-sign your guy and not pay a tax. You know what I mean?
I don't think they have more than 2 rounds.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's just the whole draft. Like you can at least match a restricted free agent's contract.
Yes.
Which, thank God. Has this, so 03-04, he's with Washington. 52 games because he strains his ab. You're starting to see his statistics increase.
You're starting to see
a bigger part.
But you also start to see him get injured a lot. And this is going to kind of come back again.
Yes.
But yeah, he really is. They brought him in to be the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great first season because of
injuries. But 04-05, Larry Hughes is there in the backcourt with him.
I was just going to say, when he teams up with Larry Hughes and they can literally play
either
1,
spot,
2, literally one, it doesn't matter. That's when you see him get to be the Gilbert Arenas we all know.
Yeah, and I mean, God, I remember this. I forget that the Wizards had this little kind of window where they were like, God, they are really good.
Making the playoffs. Yes. He gets his first All-Star.
25.5 a game.
Yep.
Jeez Louise.
45 wins a game. I don't think you've ever seen that from the Wizards again.
I don't think Wes Unseld, maybe he did that a couple of times back in the day.
They were the Bullets.
We'll come back to that one. Postseason, first round against the Bulls. Game 5, he plays the hero.
Yeah.
Fadeaway buzzer shot there to win 112-110. It was their first postseason series win in a decade.
Yep. Which, they're just such a bad franchise.
God. I mean, then they're swept by the Heat in the next round because I think the Heat won the champion. Or no. They following years.
Yeah.
05-06, man, now he's getting that 6 years, $60 million, you know.
And I'll tell you what's interesting was he came out and said, I'll take a pay cut if you guys have a free agent that would like improve us, because he literally was like, I think we could win a title here in Washington if you guys go out and get some talent.
And see, this is when the East, I won't call it dog shit, but in comparison to the West,
oh yeah,
like, man, you could be an NBA Finals team with like 45 wins.
Seriously.
If you get hot at the right time, if you have the matchups in your favor, like
if you beat Cleveland.
This is before their Cleveland.
Yeah,
too.
I know.
Like
this is when LeBron's still pretty young.
So career high 29.3 points a game, 6.1 assists, makes the All-Star game again.
Yep.
And I think they I don't know if they had the same record, but they make the playoffs again. They make the playoffs. Play a series against LeBron. So this is kind of LeBron's first foray into the postseason.
A young, full-haired LeBron.
Full-haired. No forehead. No headband. Just hair. Well, he averaged 42.3 minutes a game in these 6 games. And it was just back and forth, but they end up not winning.
No, because Cleveland definitely, and this is, I feel like what he was saying preseason, where he was just like, we just need more tools.
Yeah.
The backcourt's figured out. Get somebody on the glass.
He just takes them outside to the trunk of his car and goes, tools! I need tools! James!
What is all this stuff?
Fetish shit!
It's my tools. Baby got back.
Oh my God.
I don't think he was talking about women with back problems. I think he was talking about big, beautiful black women.
So, I did want to add 34 points per game in those 6 games.
Yes,
he's just knocking them in. Mm-hmm. This was the offseason. He gets his Agent Zero nickname.
Yep,
I read,
which originally was a joke.
Yeah,
there was like some website in Washington,
Wiznuts.com.
Nice, that literally made it as a joke, and he saw it and just goes, "I love that."
It's perfect, right?
And it makes sense.
The only other time I heard that was in that Kramer movie phone episode of Seinfeld,
yep.
where he's like, "You've selected Agent Zero."
Yep. Why don't you tell me what movie you are looking to see?
Following 06-07, All-Star again.
Yep.
All-Star again. Was supposed to play.
I was going to say, let's talk 06.
Let's talk FIBA here. Let's talk
06.
FIBA.
So he goes to the World Championships for basketball, which is FIBA, and goes through the tryouts and quits early because he was like, they have already picked the team.
Yeah.
I was there to almost be like a, practice team.
Wait, so FIBA's like a comedy festival? Is this what you're telling me?
Now we're talking.
It's pre-selected?
It's pre-selected.
No.
You have to pay to be there?
You have to pay to be there? Like, just dropping them in like Agent Zero, I guess.
And he said that Mike D'Antoni literally said, like, he felt like the team was already picked and this guy was never going to pick him.
Oh, God.
And he might have been right, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for chemistry purposes.
Oh, yeah,
as
definitely.
We'll start to find out later.
Definitely. But then he literally says, because it was the assistant from Portland, too.
Nate McMillan, yeah.
And he literally was like, I'm dropping 50 on both of those teams when we come back.
He did against the Suns.
And then had a horrible game against the Trailblazers.
Then again, this era of Suns basketball, they did not play a hell of a lot of defense.
I was going to say, that was the most run and gun team ever, I would say.
On December 17th of 2006, against the Lakers, he scored 60 points in their win that night, and it broke Earl the Pearl Monroe's team record for points in a game.
And 16 in overtime, which was a record.
Yeah, I did see
that. So
he
he definitely, and I have to say this, I felt like people around him should have pissed him off more to get him to play better. Because when he's angry and he has something against the team, he literally is a different player.
He's like Jack Clark. Like Jack Clark. Oh God! Like if you focus that rage, you're gonna get those Cardinal seasons. If you don't, if you focus that rage, you're gonna get that first Wizards window.
That's right.
If you don't,
that's right.
Oh boy! So he ends up tearing his MCL though that year, and missing him and Caron Butler. It's taken out by the Cavs in the first. You can't have that.
No, they were so bad. But I want to say this because the MCL leads into other injuries,
yes, it does.
Which people literally say changes the type of player he was because you lose a step, whatever.
So 07-08 knee injury. Most of the season he's basically out.
Well, he tries to come back, re-injures.
And he's pissed too, I remember.
So mad. He tried to come back. The doctors didn't clear him. He literally walks out of the stadium, and then I think he played 10 days later.
Yeah.
And then 3 games after that, he re-injures it. And I bet the doctors were like, yeah, we're telling you, ice it.
Gilbert, did you attend U of A medical school or just basketball school?
I didn't go to U of A. I went to Point Guard U.
Point Guard U. See, when I grow up, I'm going to Bovine University. Yes! Ah!
Love it.
Anyway. 2008, 2009, only placed in 2 games because of all of these injuries.
Yep.
And you're more or less like, God, he's so productive when he's in the game. And now he's starting to have a contract kind of issue, too.
So Antoine Jameson comes over. Mm-hmm. He is up for contract. Just to make it clear, the Wizards went 19-63 in that year because they just had
god awful.
Yeah, they had no consistency on their lineup. It was horrible. But he still wants a max, or at least like close to a max.
Yeah.
And then he says if they sign Antoine to a max, he's not going to sign because there's not going to be enough money.
Yeah. And Golden State offered him 5 years, 100. Could you imagine the fortunes of Golden State if they brought him back, though? Oh man, that would have been.
I agree.
Weird with it. That'd have been really weird.
They end up signing them both. I think he signs for 5-1-14 or whatever it is. It wasn't a complete max, but it was literally like right there.
Yeah.
But really not great going into that next season.
Yeah. No.
Not his playing.
Not his playing. No. Not 09, 010. It's not his playing we're going to be talking about right
That's
now.
right.
What are we going to be talking about, Chris?
Well, it was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring except for a Glock.
Jesus.
December 24th, 09.
Bullets were tucked in with care. All tender with care.
All tender with care? No, because they were unloaded guns, reportedly.
An old Saint Nick lay out in the front yard.
So good.
I can't keep doing this.
He brings unloaded guns into the locker room. This is the first report.
First report
is that he was kind of like cleaning and brandishing them. It later comes out that him and Javaris Crittenden got into it over gambling debts and literally pulled guns out on each other.
Maybe if they did this now, people wouldn't have frowned upon it so much. Because gambling was the no-no then.
Yep.
I mean, if they were like, well, what were you using? FanDuel, the approved NBA sponsor?
Yes.
Like, DraftKings, suspended for life!
So this is, he actually surrenders to whatever police, and they have a full investigation.
Yeah, Metro Police.
Because there was so many people in the locker room that were like, that's not okay.
Dude, I remember like at this time, like ESPN was running stories on like gambling and gambling amongst teammates and stuff. And like the basketball shit that they ran, I was like, my God. They were even talking about it, harmless gambling in The Last Dance.
Yes.
So like you never thought of it.
No, but it was happening so much in those locker rooms. It was insane.
So the U.S. Attorney's Office, January 14th, 2010, convicted him of carrying a pistol without a license and pled guilty the following day to that felony.
Yep. And then the NBA came out and was just like, we're suspending him for a long time.
Well, you know what happened, right? So January 6, 2010, on his 28th birthday, the no pay. And then he pissed everyone off in Philly when he was celebrating with a teammate and had his fingers like guns.
Yep.
I mean, did he not try and use the excuse that Finger Bang was the name of his favorite boy band?
That's right. Finger bang bang you every night.
They had to move the sausage and cheese cart.
Oh, that's true. That's a big seller.
And that's why you can't go to the mall later, Stat. Jesus Christ. That was the first Randy episode, I think.
Yeah.
Where
he's really Randy.
Yeah, where he's really crazy. So he's suspended with Crittenden for the rest of the season.
Yeah, whole season. They suspend him. I did see something that Javaris didn't get as harsh of both suspension and legal charges.
No.
Which you have to suspect that it was a lot to do with what Gilbert did.
Oh, no. And he's the more marketable star.
That too.
And also, his personality's a little on edge.
Hey, we haven't brought that up once.
So he apologizes that February in an op-ed in the Washington Post. And guilty, 2 years probation and 30 days delayed sentence.
Yep.
They're March 26th. 2010, 2011, he changes his number.
Which he literally was like, I need a change.
It's like when someone went from 8 to 24.
Well,
but not for the same reason.
He literally went from 0 to 9mm.
That's
So
I hope that was an inside joke for him where he's like, I'll show these fuckers.
he is that type of guy to make those jokes. I've heard Richard Jefferson talking about it, where he was like, dude, he would like mess around in practice almost too much.
Oh, he's smart as fuck.
Yes.
Like clever as fuck. Like,
yes.
That would not surprise me.
Yep.
Like if that was the case. I kind of hope it is.
Me too.
Like
as soon as I saw that, I was like, he's coming off a gun charge, and he went with number 9.
What was your second choice? 22?
Yes. Can I get AK on the back?
Don't worry about it. Those aren't numbers. They will be.
They will be.
They will be. Yeah. The Wizards have had enough with him, though.
Yes.
For this year, they've had fucking enough. After 4 games, you know, he's being productive. It's not like he's crappy.
No. He's come back from these injuries. He's still playing at a high level, but just I imagine the feeling in the locker room was like, this guy has to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, like
there are those players on certain teams where after that like run or that window ends, it's like, what the fuck is he even doing here anymore?
Exactly.
Like we're trying to build a culture here, maybe.
We don't want to play with this guy. Trade him.
So on December 18th, 2010, he's traded for Rashard Lewis
to the Magic.
To the Magic.
Which Rashard Lewis was a great player too. So
good for them.
Yep. Changes his number to
yes, he does. To number 1 for Penny Hardaway,
which was his favorite player growing up. He grew up in Florida. Penny Hardaway was the guy.
He's kind of like a Florida man if you think of it. I mean,
Nice.
granted,
Granted,
California and Arizona. Arizona's the Florida of the Southwest.
Thank God.
Oh,
damn
yes, it is. You know who we backed up there though that season in Orlando? A guy we did an episode on. Jameer Nelson from that St. Joseph's team.
Yes.
So,
I do remember him on the Magic. Fuck, that's great.
He was on the Magic for a while too.
Yeah.
In December 9th, 2011, though, he's waived over another new thing that happens on the business side of the NBA.
It's called the amnesty rule. I'm messing up.
Lockout amnesty clause.
And it just says that players with really ridiculous contracts who aren't performing at that level can be let go because the team is just like, dude, we just can't throw max money at this guy who's not producing.
MLB needs that for the Angels.
Oh my God.
Just like unload your whole roster of the last decade, not named Trout, who's barely played. We'll just call that the Artie Moreno rule. Like, Albert Pujols, you're 32.
Yeah. Please leave.
Oh, God. Anyway, so March 20th, 2012, he signs with Memphis there.
To back up, I forgot who. Conley.
Yeah.
And you could just kind of see that his production from these injuries has really tanked.
He's 29 years old.
Just going to say that.
I mean, granted, you know, when you have like people like Kobe finishing your career, it's like, I get why, like, or, you know, the older you get, the longer you can play, but still, like, what he probably could have had so much more in the tank.
He's so much like most of the time you see guys like really decline 32 to like 34. Mm-hmm. He really declined 28 to 30.
I think the injuries had a lot to do, and I can guarantee you having to go through the legal process like that had to have been a mindfuck.
Yep.
And for someone who didn't necessarily take a lot of shit seriously,
that's true.
Like because he's like, I'm just made $60 million doing with this type of personality. I can do whatever the fuck I want to. But nope. You know where he goes after this, Chris?
So, well, I want to say he literally plays his last NBA game at 30. To think of how huge Agent Zero was coming in and like with Washington.
It's crazy.
For him to be done at 30 and go to China is wild.
We talk about like we've had guys on this podcast who are just like comets.
Yeah.
You know, like as far as their career where it burns out hard, but it burns out fast. This was an NBA version of that.
I was going to say,
because by that second year in Golden State, man, he was just lighting it up.
And he was literally like an amazing gun that just jammed. I don't know why I keep making this reference. Oh my God! He plays 1 year with the Shanghai Sharks.
I'm still thinking about that night before Christmas shit.
That came right off the cuff.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So he goes to Shanghai. I think that was Yao Ming's old team.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. I think when I wrote that down, I'm like, I think I've wrote this down before.
They Shanghaied him.
They Shanghaied him. 20-7 game there. No postseason.
No.
And yeah.
Retires.
Out at 30. But he's a charming guy. He's a very charming guy.
Very clever.
Very silly.
Yep.
And obviously he's going to do something, you know. He's going to do something related to sports media or just media in general.
Yeah.
And he's made quite the name for himself in the last decade or so, Chris.
I was going to say, so he becomes a commentator for NBA games, and he really says stuff that you're like, I don't think the person announcing this game should be saying this.
Yeah, right.
But it makes it, I swear to God, this is what I want, is ex-NBA players talking shit, because literally they know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And he, no holds barred, would just be like, no, that was a horrible play. Whatever.
It would be like a game where Madden drank with Summerall, just didn't do the game with him, but
Now
drank, and just you were playing boom and pow with a lot of bad shit.
Yep.
But it would have been better to watch because
Yeah.
it would have been like, oh, that's totally accurate.
Yep.
Like that's what somebody who has been around this game feels and things of that nature.
Exactly.
YouTube channel No Chill Productions.
Yep.
Gilbert Arenas. Also with Chad Johnson and Shannon Sharp, which that's quite a threesome right there on Nightcap.
I was just going to say, Club Shay Shay and Chad Johnson. It's quite a trio of ridiculous things.
Sterling's little brother, Ocho Psycho, Agent Zero. Love it.
Ocho Psycho.
I called him that every time he played the Steelers. Ocho
So
Psycho.
good.
But he's been in trouble with the law a little bit. I don't know if you've read any about this. Ran 60 red lights in 4 months.
And he said thought he was going to get away with it because he had the dealer's plate still on it. And they were like, no, we just went to the dealer, and they were like, who did you sell this car to? And they were like, oh, that's Gilbert Arenas.
Okay, you got to pick one. Which one's a more ridiculous thing done by a U of A guard? This with Gilbert Arenas or Damon Stoudemire taking weed wrapped in aluminum foil through TP or TSA?
We really missed out on those two teaming up in Portland. That's all I'm saying.
I think Sabone Zone would have grabbed an AK.
Yes.
Like, just been, I'm settling this. I must break you.
He got busted with a pistol again.
I got busted with a pistol again. Here's my favorite one, though. June 27th, 2013, arrested for illegal fireworks.
Yep.
That's just a week before 4th of July. Come on. Like, celebrate your nation's free independence by blowing up a small part of it.
Which is
That's all
fine.
I'm trying to say.
Yep.
That's all I'm trying to say. But what else you got, Chris?
Most
recently.
Olympics just happened. The USA basketball team played South Sudan.
Yes.
And it was a close game, and I've said this before, where everyone talks about the USA is bad now because they're not blowing teams out. It's like, no. Other countries are actually good in basketball.
It's almost like the Dream Team did something. Yeah. They exported a sport? You could do that?
You could do that? And then he came out and said something like, I can't believe we almost lost to the Uka Buka tribe.
Ahi tribe, yep.
Yes, and people were like, what the fuck did you just say?
This is some Jack Clark dad shit because I wrote it down.
Nice.
They don't even have shoes. They got their shoes from America.
I mean, come on, Gilbert.
Shoes.
They also have NBA players who play for South Sudan, so it's like
Manute Bol is from, like, come on, man. Like, it's one thing to go, man, we need to step up our game, American basketball, to this. And it's just like Kurt Schilling liked this.
Yes. Oh my God. Kurt Schilling, John Rocker. Guys, this is our guy, Agent Zero.
Gilbert, you want to join our poker group? No, I don't think I do.
Yep.
I appreciate the offer, but no. But his son is a great player now, one of the top high school recruits.
His cousin plays for the Bills.
Oh, Javier, yeah, back in the day, he went to Alabama.
So, like, very athletic family. Gilbert Arenas, though, for me, is a player that injuries derailed all-star career.
Yeah, no, a unique player
Yep.
for any era. and just kind of, it's sad to see how it went.
Yes.
Because it could have been so much more awesome.
And man, do I want him to start calling games again.
Oh, yes.
He needs to take over Bill Walton's spot, calling Pac 2 games? What are we calling that now?
The Pac, we lost everything.
Oh, shit.
Thanks a lot, USC and UCLA, you dicks.
Thank you, guys.